Welcome back, everyone. Well, forecast models are everywhere on social media, especially when there's a tropical threat. But how do you know what to believe? Houston Chronicle meteorologist Justin Ballard is here today to talk about how to weed through the hype to get the best facts when it comes to hurricane forecasting. So thank you for coming back to the show, Justin.
The age-old question of where do I get good weather information?
Exactly.
Besides ABC 13 in the Houston Chronicle.
Yes, I'm like, always good choice, and that's probably your best bet. But first off, let's chat about why we can't always just trust these individual models that people like to show weeks in advance.
First of all, they're single sort of snapshots.
Yes.
You know, and snapshots are great when you're talking about, you know, Instagram photos, but in moments of time, and especially when we're talking, you know, 7 to 10 days out, they can be really problematic. So what we like to use is, you know, the National Hurricane Center forecast, the Climate Prediction Center's forecast, over the next 2 to 3 weeks to kind of get a feel for what kind of long-term trends show in terms of tropical development, especially this time of the year.
Well, and walk us through too, a lot of these models will put out something and then it'll change the next model run.
Especially 10 days out or more. And this is especially prevalent in the western kind of Atlantic basin, so we're talking the Gulf. That is where we see a lot of bias, especially from one particular model, which we'll talk about here shortly, kind of really gravitating towards kind of blowing up these large hurricanes and putting them onto the Gulf Coast, whether it's Texas, Louisiana, Florida. I think all of us have at some point this season been hit by some major hurricane that doesn't actually happen.
Right. I mean, Aaron, before Aaron actually rolled to the east of the East Coast, if you were online at all, there was a couple models showing it rolling straight into Texas. And we were like, nope, don't do it. So the people who are posting these, most likely doing it to get some eyes on them.
To get some eyes on them. So I want to kind of talk about some of the clicks that that you see. Now, again, this is that 2 to 3 week Climate Prediction Center outlook, showing some low-end development possibility there in the Gulf of in the Gulf. But questions to consider. This is where I really want you to kind of pay attention, especially during hurricane season. Where is that image that you're seeing coming from? That image that's going viral. Thousands of people have shared it. Thousands of people have commented on it. Where exactly is it coming from? And is the post dated? A lot of times these will be red flags. So if the post is not dated, I know Travis is very good about this. The whole ABC 13 weather team is really good about this. I'm good about this, not to toot my own horn, of course. You know, I'd like to make sure that dates are included whenever we've got those posts. Have you seen this image before? And then what does the National Hurricane Center say? And then the last question here I think is really the most important. What is the poster's intent? So are we talking about, you know, using language that's riling up or kind of instilling sort of fear? That's where, you know, some red flags kind of get thrown up as well whenever we're dealing with these kind of long range outlooks, you know, 7, 10, 14 days out.
So how do we weed these out? You know, how do we know which one to trust, which one not to trust?
It's just a matter of getting your information from reliable sources. So not, you know, necessarily the meteorologist, MEDIA. You know, getting those sources from you know, trusted, vetted sources. So whether that's, you know, Rachel or me or, you know, someone else in broadcast or whatever it may be. And you can see the kind of screenshot there on the Houston Chronicle's article there that I wrote earlier today. And it shows one model from Saturday evening at 7 p.m. on the left, and you see a hurricane kind of blowing up and hitting the Florida Panhandle. And then that same model at that same time ran last night, 7 p.m. Sunday. Nothing. Okay, so which model are we throwing under here?
The GFS. The GFS.
The GFS, of course.
Yes, and of course, you know, and that's what it seems like most people will end up posting, because the GFS, we always like to joke in the weather department, at the very end of its whole model run, like hour 380 something, it always likes to throw a hurricane. Somewhere in like in like 2 weeks, it's like a hurricane's gonna hit, and you're like, okay, that's not probably gonna happen.
Probably not gonna happen. But I will say, you know, if we're looking at where development odds through the rest of August are, you know, we're looking at places like where Aaron formed, where Fernand formed. And then as we get into September, obviously we know peak hurricane season. I mean, really, we've got to look at every single angle, especially anything that enters the Caribbean or the Gulf of Mexico.
Yep, you're exactly right. I know the peak season, we're pretty much almost in it at this point.
We're basically, you know, speed racing.
We're there. I know we're on the up and up when it comes to that. Thank you so much, Justin, for breaking that down today.
Thank you.